Good evening, everyone, and welcome to When the Shift Hits the Fan. My name is Mark Jeffrey. I'm here with my gorgeous co-host, Linda Lehman, and together we are the Shifters, bringing you inspiration, empowerment, and more importantly, transformation of your life. And tonight, we're talking about something that, from what we get from the people that email us and we work with every day, is that finding happiness and contentment and that peace and joy that you want is an elusive thing and something that you're just not able to grab a hold of. And for us, I mean, we can't put anybody in a basket and say, well, it's all going to be this or it's all going to be that. Each of you are individuals, and you each have different things that are, stopping your start or, making you totally crazy.
Oh, exactly, Mark. I mean, there's no cookie cutter. It's really interesting you should say that, because so many times we look at even different products that people offer, or even in the corporate world, it feels like people want to make put everything in a nice little basket or in set up programs, and it's cookie cutter. Everybody is the same gingerbread man as everybody else. But that's not the way it works. That's not the way we are. That's not what we are here to do or to be. We are all unique individuals. We are unique expressions of the whole. So it's up to each individual one of us to decide what makes us happy, or find that happiness within ourselves. And so I know tonight, Mark, that we wanted to talk about some simple changes that we can suggest to all of our listeners to help bring on this tsunami of happiness. And even within the things we're going to talk about tonight, there's still individuality and flexibility and uniqueness in everything that we're going to talk about, so that everyone can apply their own unique twist to it to help them see and find the happiness that we all have within.
That's exactly right. And it's interesting. Again, we're going to give you 5 simple changes. Okay, and these are things that every single person will be able to do without a lot of effort, and it's not hard to do. But these simple little things that you're going to start doing now are going to be things that you can take pieces of whenever you find yourself in situations where you're feeling out of control or you're not feeling as happy. From mine, I'm gonna qualify all of this tonight, though, with saying this, that if you find yourself in a state of depression whereby you feel you don't want to live another day, well, if you're finding yourself in something more than just a casual or the down in the dumps type of thing, you need to get professional help. I need to qualify that right now, because we're not psychiatrists or psychologists or doctors. We are just the people that just want to get a little bit of oomph into their life. And we cannot, if someone's on this line tonight and you're really struggling, then you need to get help. And in every city, everywhere across the world, there's somewhere out there that someone will be there to help you.
So, absolutely, Mark. Thank you so much for expressing our thoughts on that. I mean, if you're truly way down there and way depressed, absolutely get assistance. We're here to help you throughout the way, but you need bigger help than what we have developed the skill set to help you with.
Absolutely. So first thing I want you to do, my friends, stop, drop, and roll. Way to put out the fire. And that's the thing. Here's your little catchphrase. When you find yourself going out of control on something, like you get mad at something, you got road rage, you got up late, you're just sure as all hellfire that your life is just going to go to pieces. Stop, drop, and roll. Put out that fire. Take a breath, my friends.
Oh, exactly. Take that deep breath. I look. Gosh, as Mark does, I study the brain and the mind and how it works. When you are in that very stressed out, out of control mindset, if you want to look at it scientifically, something happens to your brain, and it's in the frontal lobe, and it actually activates that fight or flight mechanism. And when that mechanism is activated, your ability to reason is shut down. So all you're doing is you're running around on fire. And you're trying to figure out if you're going to fight it, you're going to flee, or what you're going to do, and reason is totally out the door. So you need to stop, drop, and roll, as we're taught, to put out the fire. Put that fire out and take that calming breath, because what that's going to do is it's going to bring your reason back to the forefront, and it's going to put that fire out and push aside or push back that fight or flight mechanism, and allow you to think it through.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why, it's often, I'll qualify that a little bit too. How many of you have heard of someone that was in a house fire and they died 2 feet from the door? Or they didn't even seem like they were trying to get out, like there was a door and they were trying to get out the window. There, exactly what Linda said. When you hit that heightened stage, there's no reasoning, and it's true. So you really have to get yourself out of that, and that's why we all do it. We lose our minds every once in a while. We say things that we don't mean. But the problem with that is that someone that you said those things to, they may not be as forgiving as you might want them to be when you get your head screwed on again. So we really have to just take that breath, before you go, Wah! Just take a breath, because when you're breathing in, you can't spit out. It's just, can't do that either. Scientific fact. I found that out. Okay. So we know that calm is the path. And I am, Linda's the calm, and I'm not so much. I operate at a very high state of vibration. Not to say Linda's a slouch, but I am always, it's like you gave me too many coffees. And I get excited, and obviously you can tell when I'm talking, when we're on the show, and I get excited about something, then I just don't, I just say it all. But calmer is the better way to manage a life. And I wish that I could be more calm, more discerning in some situations. I'm also like a cat. I always land on my feet, but it's not comfortable free-falling. So I will say that. And I do a lot of things that help me manage this. I do work out. I go for walks. I take yoga. I try things, deep breathing exercises. I really have to train myself on stuff like that. So if you're out there thinking like, these guys, whatever, don't, because I struggle with it too.
I don't know realistically a human being on the planet that hasn't struggled with this, Mark, and it truly is about awareness. Awareness that you're in that moment, and then the discipline to take that deep breath and step back. And, do those breathing exercises. I was just with a bunch of a group of corporate leaders just today. We were talking about reducing stress. And I was talking about this very thing with them. take a moment, take a time out, even if it's just 2 minutes, to just step back and breathe deeply. Breathe, belly breathe like you wanted to fill your lungs up from the bottom to the top instead of from the top down, because when we are in that intense situation, we're barely breathing, so we're barely taking in air anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing that shallow breathing, so it's time to take those deep breaths and experience them, hang on to them, and then let them out slowly and just experience the total release of it. And if you just do that 10 times, just a count of 10, way back when your mom used to always tell you, count to 10 before you react. Well, okay, you can either hold your breath for the whole count of 10, or you can breathe, just breathe deeply and calm yourself down, because, again, you're doing yourself a favor because you're bringing that reasoning faculty back to the forefront. We've all heard it before. You can't get yourself out of a problem by thinking inside the problem. The only way to get outside of the problem is to take a step back, to calm yourself, and then be able to look at it from a different perspective. Take that walk, even if it's just 15 minutes. Take that walk or that jog or take some quiet time or meditation time to just totally relax, because that's going to bring better ideas, better solutions, and quite frankly, better productivity with whatever you're doing right now. So if you want to be successful and find your happy, it starts by relaxing, calming down. Even my mentor, Bob Proctor, who has accomplished so many things in such a short period of time, he says, calm down. Hurry is a negative vibration.
Mm-hmm.
It puts you in a negative environment. Calm down. You can speed up, but calm down. You can do things very quickly, but do them quickly and calmly. And you do that by being totally aware of how you're reacting or responding to what you're doing.
Yep, absolutely. And then inside of that, we're talking about a bigger reflex, but there's the smaller reflexes and little things that we do every day when we call ourselves down, that negative self-talk that we have. It's just, there's no reason for it. There's enough people out gunning for you. You don't need to be doing it for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, watch those things. Like when you it's not even good like when you say it in jest. Because oh gosh, I can't believe how stupid I am. I am somebody that does that. I say that. And then I immediately go, Mark, come on. Don't be talking to yourself like that, because what we know is that my mind will accept that as a part of who I am, because it doesn't know anything differently, and I just told it something. It doesn't hear the don't be so stupid.
Right. It only hears the I'm so
I was stupid. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we do this all the time. We all do it. I do it less than I've ever done it in my life, because I've spent the last 10 years working with Tony Robbins, and I've learned, and I catch myself doing things. But even now, especially if I'm, working on our website or doing something and I get technical, like this weekend when I lost all our notes, I'm going, I get frustrated and going, how could you be so stupid? Why didn't you save that when you were thinking about it? Right? Because somehow in between all of that, my computer did that normal restart that it does. Oh, I'm restarting. I didn't look. I walked away, came back, and I'm going, but here's the thing that I have at the very bottom is get a support system, because Linda had the notes. So I could de-stress, because otherwise I'm going, I panicked. I did. I'm going, oh no, but I know that we talked about it. I know Linda takes notes. I got a support system here. I'm not here by myself. And so you can do the same thing with your best buddy, just go out on that walk together. If you're having stress in your life, or you're not feeling good about yourself, you've got something going on, like ring up, phone a friend. Say, hey, take a walk with me, or can I just pop by for a tea, or whatever it is. Half the time, by the time you get in your vehicle to drive somewhere or walk over to, by the time you're there, you've already distressed because you're already breathing through it. You're already calming down, right? It's just the time. And like Linda said, that 10 seconds, everybody should have that. We should start talking slower when we're having conversations to give the other person an opportunity to formulate a good response. That would be a good place to start, because half the time we're thinking of the next thing we want to say and not listening to what anybody else is saying about things, causing stress all over the world. So I guess one I could add on here is be respectful. Okay.
Yep.
So here we are. Here we are, Linda.
Every day is a new beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And with that new beginning, and I want to pull one more thing off of the last slide that we talked about, but it leads right into every day is a new beginning. Folks, you've heard it about your health. It's hammered into your head. Get enough sleep.
Oh, yeah.
You can have a new beginning, especially when you get enough sleep. That is one thing that I actually pride myself in. I've instinctively known this about myself since I was real little. It seems like the more stressful the situation, the better night's sleep I get, because that helps me recharge, re-energize, and then it's just like, okay, I wake up in the morning and what I thought was a huge issue is just a little bump, and the solution is presented to me when I wake up. Get your sleep.
Yeah, that is a big one, because I have been for years. I'm a light sleeper. I don't sleep into a deep sleep. I never have. I envy people that can just drop dead and you can kick them around the block and they're still not moving. I would love to be that person, but I'm not. And so I have to be particularly conscious of that and not getting too tired. I can't take naps in the afternoon. If I take a nap in the afternoon, my body just goes, okay, we can go for another 24 hours. And so I'm up all night. Mm-hmm. And you're all going to come into different things. Having patterns with sleep is a really good thing, going to bed at the same time every night, and not caffeine, all of that stuff. You can research that on the internet about getting a better sleep. But some of us, like my doctor says, some of us don't need a lot of sleep. And I'll tell you, my biggest mistake was, Linda, just because you brought up the sleep issue, is I was going to bed too early. And I was waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning, but I was already getting 6 hours of sleep, which is all my body needed. So I was getting frustrated, it's 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I need more sleep, but the fact was I didn't. So, my doctor said, do something for 2 hours at night. Watch a movie if you want to, or read for a while, and then go to bed, and go to bed from midnight to 7. That's all and I started doing that, staying up a little, and for the first little while, it's like teaching yourself, right? I was like dozing off and waking up 2 seconds later, and it was hard to teach myself to stay up for those 2 hours so I could sleep, and I feel better. Same time, same 6 hours, right? 6 or 7 hours, but at a different time where my head's going, oh yeah, I'm waking up with the sunshine instead of in the middle of the night with nothing to do. So aggravation on one side, calm on the other. So that was my new beginning, learning that I was in total disarray with my sleeping pattern. My perspective was skewed. I just had to change my perspective, and now I'm happy. So what we're saying is you don't have to stay there. I didn't have to stay there. I had to find out how to fix it, and then I had to teach myself to do it. And it was difficult, but I did it, and now it's better.
That's awesome. Now you wake up with a new beginning every day. And it's very important as you start your new day, and you can. You know, so many people, Mark, carry over yesterday and the day before and the day before and the year before with them into the brand new dawning of the new day.
No, they're not starting over.
No, no. The glory is we all, every one of us has the opportunity to look at today and say, I am so grateful that I have this brand new day to make it anything that I want to make it. All you have to do is believe in yourself. That's key. You believe that you can start anew every day, and you will, and you can, and it happens every single day. The past is gone. It's done. You can't change it. It's not going to steer you. You get the opportunity to take full control, take those reins, and make today what you want it to be.
Absolutely. You have to believe that, though. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your power. And I recognize and understand and accept that in some cases it's going to take a while to do that. But if you do it every day, if you get up with that intention every day, eventually it will become a habit, then it'll become a reality, and then you're not going to be thinking about it anymore, and you're just going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about this, because right now, we just said it, right? We're leading up to this. You can't imagine that you would ever be that happy. Well, now it's time to let your imagination run, because in your imagination, that is your key to freedom.
You can make anything happen with your imagination. You know, absolutely nothing in your environment would be there except for the fact that it was first started in somebody's imagination. Your imagination is your key to freedom. It's the beginning point of all creation. What you create in your imagination and you believe in, you can bring into your physical. So you must set this play date with your imagination. Let it out to play. Forget about what your teachers told you in school to be quiet, pay attention, stop daydreaming. It's wrong. I hate to tell you that, but it was wrong. Your imagination is the beginning point of everything that you want to achieve in your life. So let it out to play and really run with it and envision your perfect life exactly the way you want it to be, with the happy, joyful, free you doing whatever it is that just makes your heart sing. Imagine it. Get very detailed in your picture. Get crystal clear. And then, tools you can use, storyboards and vision boards. Get pictures, cut them out, or print them off of the internet, or maybe make a virtual vision board and start bringing together all of these things that you're imagining for yourself. Focus on it every day, not just during one little 1 hour segment of a day that you decide to let your imagination out to play, and you do all of this and then you put it up on a shelf. That's not going to do you any good. You got to look at it every single day. Get emotionally involved with it. Feel yourself doing this and being this and having this. Pull it out every day. The most successful people in the whole wide world do this. If you were to do an interview with them, their imagination is a key to what they perceive as their freedom and what they perceive as their success.
Nope. And here's the thing. I know some of you, you're going to feel silly. Well, you know what? That's cool. Because when we were children, there was nothing that ever stopped us. We would run full tilt. You remember that? You'd run full tilt, and it could have been right into the side of a car, over a cliff. We ran full tilt because when we were children, nothing was there. We built that up over our lives. We built up all of this stuff. People have problems with relationships and that. Well, one thing went bad, and and then you added that to the bucket. Now you're carrying around all of this stuff. So release that. Release your inner child again. And even if you feel silly about feeling that way, well, then do it in private. Put your storyboard somewhere where it's private to you, like Linda said, a virtual one. So only you can tap into that. But never let that feeling stop you because that's the problem in and itself, is that we've forgotten how to run full tilt with pure abandon and joy and happiness. And, you know, maybe some of you who can should actually do that. Get out in the park today, run full tilt.
Mm-hmm.
Might only be 5 steps for some of us, but run full tilt. And just throw your arms out and let your legs go whatever way they go, right? Just
do
go.
a cartwheel on the beach.
Yeah, mine are pretty crappy ones, but I can pretend, right?
You know
but the thing
they're beautiful in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the only place that it has to be beautiful, because if you believe it, you can achieve it. Nobody else has to. It doesn't matter. So that's going to bring us here. I want you to start feeling something, and I'm hoping that you're starting to think there's a possibility for you. This is a possibility, you know, that you can float above. We say water, or float above the sky and the clouds and feel light. You know, now though it's the tricky part. You're kind of there, and you're sitting there going, yeah, I can do that. What you guys said, yeah, I can do that. I'm feeling a little bit good about myself. But then the monkey chatter starts.
Yeah, and that monkey chatter can pull you under the waves quicker than anything. But this is where, again, you can use your imagination to float yourself right back up to the top, and you'll feel confident. You know, the more you get in tune with the feelings of well-being, the feelings of confidence that you can do that, you will feel empowered, and you will tap into this. The only word that Mark and I could find to describe it is euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really hard feeling to describe, but once you feel that feeling, embrace it, hold it, coddle it, just, you know, it's part of you, so enjoy it and allow it to happen, because that truly comes with knowing that, wow, I am in control. I can continue to float on top. I don't have to be sucked down into the deep, dark depths. I can float on top in the sunshine, and I have total control of that. That's a checkpoint. Check in with your feelings and see how you're feeling.
Mhm. Yeah, so important. Be aware of yourself. Be aware of when your pulse is starting to climb. Be aware of stressful situations. You know, and make changes in your life that matter. If you get stressed about going and buying your groceries at rush hour, everybody, you know how everybody does that, right? Before they go home, they have to stop in, and everybody's angry because there's a big lineup. You know what? Change your pattern. Like, maybe shop earlier in the day, take it on your lunch break or something like that. Just change it and get out of it for just one time. You need to get out of the habit of doing things, because what's that? Okay, we always talk about this too, Linda, banging your head against the wall, expecting a different change, right? It's not going to change. You're going to just feel that way. So you have to feel like it's all good and release that stress. I never worry about it. You know, I know people get so upset in the grocery stores. You know, they're running up and down the line trying to figure out who's going to be the go through the fastest. I'm going, I never know how people can figure that out, because I will tell you, I'm always in the longest one. So if you're in the store with me, don't get behind me. But I don't care about it. I take the time. I mean, there's lots of cool things. There's magazines to read. I've gone through 2 magazines waiting in a line. Never had to buy the magazine. I'm sure you're not supposed to do that, but nobody told me to stop.
But you know what? It's also a great place to let your imagination out to play. Just stand there with a smile on your face, just enjoying life, because in your mind you're someplace else, and that's okay. It's all good.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, you know, that we've given you a little bit so you can do the little happy dance like our little penguin's doing.
I love that. It's such a cute picture.
Yeah, and you know, to me that's you know, happy feet. That was such a good, you know, these kids' stories and shows like that honestly have more effect, I believe, on adults, because we've lost most of that. The children laugh and they think it's cute, but there's more behind that. in all of these little cartoons and little things that we watch, the storybooks that children read, we need to listen to them more because we've lost that. And if you're going to ask me where your happiness was, it went wherever you went when you became an adult and decided that the child wasn't worth it anymore or the child didn't fit in anymore. The child is there, and it is the happiness and the burning desire that's inside of all of us. So you need to own that, because by owning that, you can live it. And I know I do. I try very hard to I don't care. You know, I just don't care what other people think of things. I mean, I don't go out and make a fool of myself, but I simply, if I did, I still wouldn't care.
Oh, exactly. I mean, we're here to enjoy life. So does it really matter if somebody else thinks that the dance that you're doing looks funny? As long as you're enjoying yourself, you're enjoying life. So we should all adapt the who cares attitude, you know, when it comes to making ourselves happy.
Yeah, because it's you.
Yep.
It's your happiness. It's you. You're worth it. So go out and do it. And that's what we had for you here tonight. I'm hoping that this will at least, if nothing else, change your perspective. You know, put a little, let your steps be a little bit lighter, and breathe through it all, my friends. Just breathe through it all, because no matter what, tomorrow is another day. And I know each and every one of our grandparents said that to our parents, who said it to us. Tomorrow's another day.
That's beautiful, Mark. And, you know, I'd like to leave our listeners with, you know, we talked about you're worth it. Absolutely, you're worth it. So I say go out there, let that imagination run willy-nilly, and find your fabulous. Because it's deep inside, and it's there waiting for you to play hide and seek and find it.
Oh, man, if I had another slide, I'd be Find Your Fabulous on it. That's awesome. So, you guys, if you want any more information, right up here is Linda's site and my site. WhenTheShiftHitsTheFan.com is where you can find a ton of information, past shows, and things that will help you find your happy and stay in your happy. So for Mark here in Canada in this beautiful spring-like weather today, good night, everyone.
And from Linda down here in spring-like weather in Florida as well, good night.